Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Quaternity Live. It has been a hot minute, and we're back today, kind of reinvigorating the space with the wonderful, wonderful host from the Puzzle Room. Everyone remembers and knows
Hi.
Kash. Welcome back to
Hi,
Quaternity Live.
guys.
It has been a hot minute, and we're
Wow.
back. I can't believe I told
You
you
just said that.
the volume, and I hadn't done it myself. So we're doing well. Um, my
Oh,
apologies.
it's lovely to be here anyway. It's really good to see you again. Excited.
You too. I love the colors on your top. Very colorful. I love where you're sitting. I just think it's like very much
Yeah,
exude.
I'm in the tropics. I'm in the mountains in Brazil. Super beautiful here, very green.
I love that for you. I'm also very jealous. I'm sitting in a very, very particularly gray, rainy, snowy, cold winter. And it's honestly all three of those things at the same time. I don't know how it's all three of those
Yeah.
things at the same time, but it is.
I remember that in London, except it wasn't as cold because Chicago is like super cold, right?
It's not been so bad recently, but I will say like the temperature was -7 this morning, and I was like, oh, okay. So don't take my word for it. I was I was visiting Shreyas, who some of um us will know is my brother, and I was walking around in San Francisco in like 13-degree weather without a sweater or a jacket or anything on, and everyone thought I'd lost my mind. Have gotten used to living in the place I've ever lived in ever,
Yeah.
and it's wild. Um, but thank you everyone to joining us. Hey Emma. Oh my God, this is lovely. Today is just a very I'm very excited about this session, but session, not session, this live. I'm very excited about live because we're going to be chatting about Cash's quaternity journey and kind of how you've come to the place that you're in, and kind of like spiffing off of and inspired by the Portuguese lives that we do that are very similar in format. And then I'm going to test you. Um, as the host from the puzzle room, I have a couple puzzles for you, and I'd like to see how you do. Um,
Okay. Oh my God. Wow.
I'm I'm not worried. You see things in like 5 seconds. It's a little bit insane in the most complimentary way. It's a little bit insane.
Yeah. Although it's not always correct. I might think I see it, but it's maybe not correct.
Well, I'll say this, like I've noticed in most, and I've seen pretty much all of the shows, I feel like your ratio very much is like highly skewed towards being right more often than not. So like it's a good place to be. I feel like a
Yeah,
little bit of self-doubt is good for health, you know?
yeah, definitely. And it's
Um,
become so much easier because of having to search for puzzles for the puzzle room.
mhm.
It makes it so much easier to see them now, especially when you're playing as well, right? Because you're sort of tuned into to checkmates.
Do you ever do I'm this is not quite in my questions, but I'm just curious since you brought it up. Is there ever any point where you're in the middle of a game and you're super like zoned into the game, which as I'm sure, or maybe at least it is for me, so I'm assuming it's the same for you, is a very specific mindset and is very separate from when you're like looking for puzzles or observing a game. And do you ever
Yeah.
catch yourself kind of slipping in between those two modes when you see a really interesting position and you're like, oh, this could be good for the puzzle room?
Oh, yes, definitely.
How does that work for your gameplay in that moment?
Yeah, it's fine. I'm just, aware that if there's about to be a checkmate, I'm like, oh, this could be a really good one for the puzzle room. Because, there's traditional checkmates, which are kind of the ones with like the queen and
Mhm.
the bishop, and but then there's also some like crazy ones that happen where you're like, wow, this would be great for the puzzle room. So
I
yeah.
love that. I feel like as a spectator or like as a fan, as a puzzle room fan, the biggest thing that's done for me is I'm definitely getting better at seeing checkmates for sure because I practice it every week with y'all, but more so if I checkmate someone with a pawn, it's so, which I've still never managed to do, by the way, for the record, but it's just so much more satisfying.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like when you see a kind of unusual checkmate, it's like, wow, you want to remember it, right? Yeah, and
totally.
it's much more satisfying in a way.
Yeah, I think I remember someone else made that comment too of just like, I know I'm losing a pawn or I know I'm losing a knight or I know I'm losing something like theoretically less mobile or less valuable in the long scheme of things or in the well, or maybe someone will come up and tell me that a knight's more valuable than a queen. I don't see it happening, but I'm very willing to be surprised. But they're like, I think it was someone who lost a pawn and then took the either it was a bot or someone else's queen with their pawn because the person missed it, or and if it's a bot, then bots make trades like that all the time, so it's possible. And they were just so pleased with themselves and so chuffed, and it
Yeah.
was really funny.
Yeah, when you make good moves, it's really satisfying.
Yeah. On the subject of making good moves, how did you start playing Quaternity? When did your journey with the game begin?
I'm trying to remember actually. I guess I don't really remember what year. Maybe like 2015, 2016. I can't remember when they came up with the game, but I do remember like the games would last for hours and hours and hours, like because we didn't have the time restriction.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you could end up playing a game for 4 or 5 hours because when you don't have the time restriction, you spend, the first part of the game is fairly, you're moving around, opening, setting up. But then when you're in the thick of it, I mean, you can spend like 6 minutes thinking about one move. And if four people are doing that,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I really enjoyed those days because I mean, it was a very different way of playing, right? Because it was much more. I mean, you felt exhausted afterwards, I have to say. But yeah, so I started playing a while ago in person when there were no time restrictions. So that was a very different experience of the game. And then with the timers, then the game changed quite a bit, right? Because that with time you have to be a bit faster. I'm quite a fast person in general, so I don't mind the time restrictions. Um, and then with the introduction of the online chess, which is also a very different game to in person, I really enjoy playing room. Like, why can't I ever work out how to checkmate people? Because it's quite a hard. It's quite difficult if you're not a traditional chess player. You you kind of can't quite see it. And maybe actually not being a traditional chess player gives you advantages another way, but for checkmating, I feel like it really helps. And so
Mm-hmm.
I could just never quite work out how to do it. So then started doing the puzzle rooms and focusing on checkmates. And then I just couldn't stop seeing them. I just seeing them everywhere, which is amazing, right? So then my game went to another level, and yeah, it's amazing. The puzzle rooms really helped, actually, really a lot.
Oh, I love that. Um, so, well, actually, I have multiple follow-up questions for you, which is not useful because you said a lot of very interesting things.
Sorry, I
Um,
should short.
but well, I guess my next question, I'm curious then if how do I want to phrase this? Well, actually, let me ask my first question and then I'll make sure I have the phrasing down. So, like, when you started playing all those years ago and you were playing mostly in person with the longer games, do you have like a preference for the current version where you have different sorts of times and different kind of more structured formats? And also, like, what actually brought you to the game? What made you start playing?
So the first question, I mean, I like playing online with time restriction, and sometimes I actually prefer playing like 5 minutes each, so it's quite a quick game. But we've been playing recently in person without any time limit, and I really enjoy that as well, because it gives everybody time to think, and the game sort of becomes more interesting because I feel like with the time restriction in person, I don't know that the energy is different. Like it's a little bit sort of hurried and I, making mistakes and things. Whereas if you have, and the last few games we've had in person without timer, it's only been about 2 hours or maybe three. I mean, that's a lot. It sounds like a long time, but I am telling you, it passes like super fast. you don't notice the time. So
Totally.
yeah, I think online I'm a bit more impatient, I think. Yeah, I don't know why.
No,
Um,
I see that too. Sorry, quick like jump in just because I feel very similarly because I remember one in-person game I played where it was very much can go to
yeah,
bed and I was like, I'm sorry.
I bet that yeah, I'm always the person, to be fair, that's like, guys, we've been playing 2.5 hours now. Can we try and keep a limit to like maybe 5 minutes per move? Like we've got to speed it up a little bit. Yeah, because after
Oh.
2.5 hours, it's kind of you get hungry.
Yeah, or sleepy. I remember that the
Yeah,
game in particular and thinking about people were just like, okay, we're calling it after first checkmate because this is gonna go on till midnight if we don't.
yeah.
And it was wild. Um, but that's funny. But yeah, how did you begin playing? What made you start?
Oof, that is a good question. I can't really. Well, everyone kind of around me was playing, and then it was kind of like a new game, and I like games. I like board games, and I just wanted to get involved. Like I'd played a little bit of chess, but never really. Like I knew how the pieces moved,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of understood the game, but not really played a lot. So I was really interested because it was 4 players,
Right.
and then when you start playing, you kind of get hooked because it's such an interesting game, especially psychologically.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I really wanted to play, and not a lot of women were playing at that point, and I felt, um, yeah, I wanted to. I mean, I still would love to get so good that I'd be in the top 10 or something, but that's not going to happen anytime soon.
It
I think
takes
women
a
just
lot of
think
practice.
differently about, like I notice, I mean, this could be a massive generalization, so do forgive me, but I notice that guys seem to get focused on one thing in particular. They get a bit obsessive, like with cars or football or quaternity. And women are more kind of, they don't get so obsessive, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I haven't got this obsession to keep playing like every day, every day. I need to like work at it.
That's fair. I think I'm curious if we were to do, I don't know if this is even the right direction of thought, but if we were to do, having said that, like if we were to do a pattern analysis of different people's play styles, if that
Mm,
kind of
mm,
behavioral pattern would reflect in their play styles as well. He's been such an interesting reflection of the people and
mm.
person and that I'm playing with. Like I know that someone I actually Madhu, we all know Madhu. I played a game with him, a Blitz show that's coming out soon.
Yay.
Um and I
Very
think it
fun.
was that one, or it might have been the one before, but the one that came out last month, he tried excuse me, he tried an opening from this that he learned from this kid who uh in the school program that Quaternity does in India, and he just like his game felt completely different to me. Like he felt completely different to me as a person, and I'm not sure what that, like in that moment,
Mm,
in that game, he just felt
mm.
so different to play with him. And it was super super interesting, so I'd be very curious. Also, Ama says that yeah, the puzzle room really helps in terms of checkmates, I think, and seeing that she said this a little while ago and I just caught it, but that's a
Yeah, it's really good if you are looking to improve like seeing checkmates or how to do checkmates, it's so good to watch the puzzle room.
Mhm.
Um, because you just start understanding how they work and all about the royal squares, and it
Yeah,
really really helped me a lot.
for sure. So I've again, I've like an interesting question for you. One, you mentioned you like board games and you play them a lot. How do you feel, how do you feel Quaternity like fits in or compares to or stands out from the board games that you usually play, and what makes it different? And in that same line, what do you therefore like about it?
Wow, that's a great question. I mean, I feel like it stands out a little bit because it's quite a psychological game,
Hmm.
you know. So, you know, where you know, Monopoly, for example, it's the roll of the dice that kind of determines a lot. Whereas Quaternity, it's the kind of psychology of the game and how you're seeing what other people are doing. I find it so interesting because, you know, someone can make a move towards you and you could be like, oh, they're attacking me, if that's how you want to perceive it. Or you could be like, oh, maybe they're just moving there
Hmm.
in order to move somewhere else and attack someone else, you know? So it really made me question my assumptions of things. Like it really, I don't know, it shows you a lot about your own psychology, you know, which I find it really interesting. And battle, and it's a psychological battle as well, almost with yourself.
I
um,
see what you mean, I think.
sorry,
I see what you mean, I think.
because you can kind of, for example, I've seen many people um, feel like they're getting attacked, and then they lose their focus and control because they're kind of getting flustered about why are you attacking, you know, why are you attacking me, sort of thing. So I really feel like it shows you more about yourself than the others, right? Because you never know what someone's doing. You don't know what their intention is. I mean, obviously, if they're moving all their pieces towards you, they're probably trying to attack you. But also, it's like don't take things personally, right? It's a game.
Mhm.
It's a tactical game. You need to um play with sort of a level of maturity, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I love it. I find it's very insightful.
For sure. So two comments. Ama says yes for checkmates. That's what she was referring to.
Yeah.
And Jeff says hi. Well, he doesn't say hi, but he commented. So hi, Jeff, firstly. And he says yes, managing stress to maintain attention, focused and broad. Um,
Yeah.
is a mood. Yep, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Yeah, because it's easy to lose your cool in any game, right? You know, you see tennis players like smashing their rackets.
I just saw
I've
this
never
yesterday.
seen anyone smashing any chess pieces. Um, but it's super easy to lose your cool, and then you kind of lose the focus of what you're doing, and you kind of get drawn into something that, you know, I think it's really important to keep perspective of the whole board
Mhm.
and not sort of make assumptions. Yeah,
For sure.
which is
Um,
hard.
okay. Bob Cummings asks, do you find your heart rate increases at times?
Absolutely. Oh my God, especially in the what competition? It was the online, I think it was the Blitz. And I was like um one move away from a checkmate and my heart was like boom, boom, boom. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get this guy, I'm gonna get this guy. And then because you have someone after you or two people after you, it can change in a and I'm like, please don't see movements, please. And my heart's like boom, 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 like literally coming out of my chest. And I can't remember. I think I got the checkmate, or something will happen where it was clearly obviously I could do a checkmate and they just move, which is silly really because you know there's two other people that can move. So it yeah, it's
For
hard.
sure. It's definitely it doesn't seem to be just you, Bob, because Madhu also added that when there's 4 seconds left on the timer, my heart rate is about 1,000.
That
Um,
as
is
well, the
another
time,
mood.
yeah, when your time's running down, you're like, oh my God, why is my mouse not clicking?
I find
Normally
that,
I get annoyed with my computer at that point.
oh my God, I know what you mean. I find that 100%, I like somehow everything's working perfectly, everything's fine, but somehow it's just when like you have 4 seconds left, somehow your mouse stops working. It was working fine like literally half a second ago. It's just in that moment, and I'm convinced that
I
it's
know, the
conspiracy.
amount of time. Yeah. The
um
thing is like try not to, yeah, run out of time, which is hard.
yeah. But I think I've seen someone, I think it was on a Blitz show, and in general, like I've seen people, Chico does this and IL does this also.
Yeah, they
unbelievable.
run really
They
low
just they
times,
play
right?
with like 1 second on the clock,
Yeah.
and it's like I'm just standing. What?
Yeah.
I feel like I get secondhand stress just watching them. Like I don't
Yeah.
understand how they manage it. It's
I
such a good
sometimes I'm
exercise,
shouting at
though.
the computer screen like, "Oh my God, move! Like you've got 3 seconds."
Okay. Another question from Bob is when you've made a really bad move, say expose your queen, do you hope no one has noticed?
Absolutely. I mean, I think I did that yesterday or the day before. I was like, oh, God, please don't see that, please. But I mean, sometimes it's too obvious, and you're just like, okay. After you've made the click, and then you see it, and you're like, oh, and then you're just like, okay, I've got to let it go, and I've got to refocus. And also, it's good practice. Like if you lose your queen, because you can still win, you can still get checkmates without your queen. I mean, it's much harder, but what I find good is to like, you've just got to let it
Yeah.
go, and then refocus and work out, okay, what have I got to work with here? But definitely, like 2 seconds after you make the move, you're like, oh, that's happened so many times.
Oh, I've noticed also just jumping in there is like it's also I've had to really learn to control my face when I do stuff like that because I'll just like react or make a sound or draw attention to the fact that I made this mistake
Yeah,
when it's entirely possible no one would have caught it if I don't personally
absolutely.
draw attention to it.
Yeah,
And then I'm still working that one. I'm not very good at.
a poker face. You need like a quaternity face. So, because also I'm like, I sort of give away my excitement when I think I've got a checkmate, and then it's kind of like, no, don't show any. You've got to have a kind of poker face playing in
Mhm.
person. I think
You need to be very
it
centered
helps.
in a sense. I like that. We're going to start calling it quaternity face. Um,
Yeah, you need a quaternity face.
let's just rewrite pop culture references. That's what this game's here for anyway. It's fine.
Yeah,
Um, as the checkmate queen, do you have a favorite checkmate or favorite
I
kind of?
mean, well, I don't know if it's my favorite, but certainly the one I use the most is the queen and the bishop. I
Mm,
just I find it the easiest, really, if you can do it right. Um, I would love to be able to say, oh, like, with a pawn and a horse, or but for me, the obvious, yeah, the queen and the bishop, that combination is killer, and I use it quite a lot.
nice.
Yeah,
Very cool. Yeah, I
yeah.
think I feel like I remember hearing about that for the first time. Well, or rather, the first time I heard it officially, like more properly being discussed, was Chico, I think, was talking about it with Victoria on one of the Portuguese lives, and it was wild. He was explaining it in all these ways, and like I think since then we've been calling it like the Chico combination. Um, at least within some circles that I operate in. I don't know if that's actually what the entire community calls it. But that makes sense.
Yeah,
And honestly, like I know what you mean because I feel like the easiest, especially when I'm playing white, the in a sense the easiest mate to get is black, even though it's the furthest away,
diagonal.
because you just have to watch for when like you can use
Uh,
the queen bishop like combo on that
Yeah,
on one of those diagonals.
yeah. Or
One of-
actually, on reflection, I think actually the queen backed up with anything, really, right?
yeah,
Because if you
that's
can
true.
get your queen close to the king and just make sure it's backed up,
Mhm.
and obviously there's no pieces that can defend or take it, I think that's kind of like a winning combo.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I know we've had a few of these so far, but do you have any tips for someone who is like for a beginner, someone who's just started playing?
In terms of just generally playing or checkmates or general.
Whatever you want. I think personally, as someone when I was a beginner, I would take all of the help I can get. So I'm just gonna say all of the above, whatever you want to share.
Yeah. I guess is to have fun. The first thing is like, don't take it too seriously when you're starting, or ever really. um, but yeah, have fun because it's a fun game, and just like explore. Like, um, explore the board, explore different types of moves, try and be open-minded and watch the puzzle room. That will help with your checkmates. And yeah, I think it's about having fun, right? Because it's a really fun game. When you're beginning, you know, it's important to have fun and stay open-minded and just stay open to learning because there's so much you can gauge in the game.
Definitely. I think
Yeah.
on the vein of exploration and being open to things, I think that's such a valuable thing to keep with, even as you continue. Because I'm finding that now it's been about a year and a half that I've been playing more seriously, and it's interesting because every time I talk with Shreyas about it, the one thing that he always stresses always is that like he always kind of reminds us, me, whomever, that we're still in the early stages of the game itself and its evolution, right? So there's so much room for exploration and growth and learning and
Yeah.
new, not just like the physicality of like the physical like new openings and new like combinations and new like strategies and tactics,
Mm.
but just the game itself is just so much to explore and learn. And
Yeah.
there's, I don't know, I think that's a really beautiful place to be at, and I think that's like possibly the best thing anyone could remember. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Um, cool. So as I said, we will be testing you today. Um, and
Oh
I
my.
have I have a couple of puzzles for you that I very much took from the puzzle room. So this is going to be fun, but they're not recent. You won't
Okay. I
know
barely would have forgotten them.
them. I'm
Standard because I've been a bit I haven't been playing a lot in the last few weeks, but let's see.
I believe in you. Okay. So this puzzle, the first one is actually, you know what? I know what the question is, but I'm not going to tell you because I'm going to make this harder. Because I've noticed the last few puzzle rooms, y'all don't tell us anymore who's supposed to move.
I know, which I think is
So
a
I'm not going to
shame.
tell you who's supposed to move either.
Okay. Well, so I'll just talk, what we can see going on here. So green seems to be in kind of a vulnerable position.
Mhm.
Um, although it's not in check. White seems fairly protected. Black is kind of possibly quite vulnerable as well. Yeah, with red is kind of red has places to escape that would be hard to cover. So I'm guessing it's going to be on. Oh my gosh, this is really hard now. I'm guessing it's going to be on green. No, hang on a sec. Um, I think it's going to be on green. Oh, this is actually quite tricky. I think. So let's have a look here. If the white queen moves down to HI1, we've still got that spot on J3 that isn't covered. So it's not that. Let's have a look. Uh, oh my goodness, I'm going to get fired from the puzzle room.
No, this one is much harder when you don't know what color it is because of
Yeah,
the
because I
possibilities.
would have, I mean, yeah, I would have said that queen moving down, but that the spot on J3 is not covered, so it can't be that. So let's see if we move something else like the, yeah, but that's covered as well. Because you could move,
Answer. So This is exciting. So now there's two possibilities.
My goodness. All right, hang on. I mean, queen. This is terrible. Okay, what's the Cash? Sort it out.
Oh, we got both of our answers in chat. Thank you, Jeff and Madhu. Um,
Oh my God.
Gosh, this is a hard one. So like it's
Wait. Um, hang on. This is Felipe.
Hi Felipe.
Hi.
I bet you he wants to give the answer.
No, no, I don't know. What is your pieces, babe? It's you were
No,
white.
this is no. This is a puzzle.
Ah, this is a puzzle.
Yeah. Which I'm failing at massively. We could be here for quite some time.
I can give you a hint that's very much not like the hints you get on the puzzle, you give on the puzzle room, I should say. But have your
Go
eye
on.
move from the left of the board to the right of the board. That's the
Yeah, I
movement
mean,
you're.
I'm focusing on green. Maybe I shouldn't be focusing on green. Or maybe I should focus on black.
No, your focus is right. Green is the one that gets checkmated. I'll give you.
So, I mean, if the black
That's the right
bishop
focus.
moves,
But seriously, just think
see.
about it. Think about moving from the left of the board towards the right.
Oh, yeah, I see it now. God,
Oh,
that's so
the
obvious.
tower
Yeah.
checking the king in J4, no?
Mhm.
I told you he wanted to come and give the answer.
Good answer.
Um,
I'm part of the game. She gave a good clue.
Yeah,
Because the three lines is busy to the
Yeah.
green king.
yeah,
No?
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
that was super
very-
obvious. I don't know how I didn't see
It's
that.
obvious, but
It's
demand.
hard.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's like
Okay, have you got another one? I'm just warming up.
Yes, you are. So, quick note
Yeah.
on that is that there's another. So, when you put this on the puzzle room, for anyone who's interested, this was on the puzzle room number 5. There's a second puzzle that I did not take. And this one, your answer. So, the question itself was red to move, checkmate in one,
Oh
not
yeah.
white.
So
So,
the tower, the red tower moving along and
mhm.
putting the black king in check
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah. And so that puts the
Okay,
black king in
yeah.
check and checkmates. The I've just gotten more stylish or which one's better, and they're complementing each other. And I think it's the most wholesome interaction I've seen Quaternity live in a really long time. And it's making me really happy.
I
So
think
yeah,
the red moving is pretty stylish, right? Because you're
it
double
is.
checking.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
then it's protected as well by the
yeah,
Mhm.
but you lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No.
Mother's point was some mothers really liked the red rook. And then exactly Jeff made the same point that you'd lose the rook in the next move because it's not protected, but then it's a double check, and therefore Mother feels agrees with Cash that it's more stylish. And so there we go. That's that's our puzzle for this one. And our second one from me is over here. Um, let me know if you want the color, but this is again another
No,
checkmate
I've
in
seen
one.
this now. I've seen this.
You've seen it already?
Yeah. Well, there's two checkmates here.
There's two.
Oh,
There's
no.
two.
Okay, there's just one. There's just one here.
I saw the first one. I was like, if you're gonna test me on the checkmate I got for you, that's gonna honestly would be fair.
Oh no, wait, no, I haven't seen it. No, I haven't seen it. Wait a sec. Oh. Oh my God, there's so many possibilities here. Yeah, I was immediately drawn to checkmate again on green, but I think it could be no. Black is very well protected. Wait, so if the queen goes here, no, the king can escape here.
Ooh. And we have two guesses again.
Wow.
Madhu and Jeff are on their game today.
On
Gotta love
fire.
it. Totally.
Okay, so I think yeah, that horse is protecting those spots. Oh. Mm. I always get focused on the queens. Mm. I mean, green is like really closing in on black.
Mm-hmm.
So if you move the rook on line 11 across, but the horse or the queen could, because the queen, that black queen is protecting the king basically. So unless you can get a piece up in that top, is there a bishop that can go in that top corner? No, and there's not a piece that can go down there. Is there? No.
The Black Queen is also pinned, though, which is an interesting point of note.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that is true. So then it's got to be the the rook, the green rook on 9,
Mm-hmm.
d9 across to l9
Is it,
because
but the king could take that, no?
oh yeah.
Because it
Oh
would
geez.
it would put it in check, but the king could take that, I think.
Yeah. No, and then the rook on 11 is also unprotected. The queen. Da, da, da. So is it not on black? Is it on green?
No, it's on black.
Hmm. So why aren't I seeing it? Oh, oh, I see. Is the white queen moving up?
Yep,
Yeah.
precisely.
God, that took me ages.
These ones are much harder than I remembered. When I was like going back and looking for puzzles, like y'all really brought some of the best checkmate like puzzles I've seen in a really long time.
Well, I know they're all quite high caliber players on the puzzle room, so
Very
um,
much so.
I have to say I haven't been playing for quite some months, so I'm obviously I got to get back in the game.
I think
But yeah, so the answer, yeah, sorry.
Mhm. Sorry, I was just gonna say, I think it's one of those things where I'm chuckling because so I think it's interesting because often with the puzzle room and what happened with this checkmate when I was kind of like looking at it too and solving it was I did the same thing you did. I was first drawn to green, thing that you might zero in on and focus on, and sometimes it's just like
Yeah,
the next little street down the road. Like you're close but not quite there.
you're
Uh,
near, but you're not quite getting it. Yeah. Yeah, and because there's so the green queen and two green rooks, you're like, well, between them, they've got to get it, right? Because and then you're
Mhm.
kind of just focused up there, and then you forget that that white queen is there, and if it just moves up and puts the
Yep.
king in check, all the escape routes for the king are covered by the green pieces, and like
Mhm.
you said, the black queen is pinned by the green queen. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's a really sneaky checkmate by white because green's doing all the work.
Totally. I think it's really funny because it's like I played a game recently on Tuesday this week with a friend and then like with a couple of friends, and that happened twice where like I was kind of gunning for a checkmate and I didn't see it happening before first red got it and I was playing black, and then I was trying to checkmate red and I had all of my pieces in place and I had all of that, and then green came in and got that checkmate on red because I didn't catch it before it happened, and I actually, so firstly, I do it to people a lot. So like, I think it would be very hypocritical of me to get angry if someone did it to me. But I honestly think it's really cool to because it's therefore good practice to kind of step back and make sure that you kind of develop that stepping in and stepping out of like how closely you're seeing the board,
Yeah.
see what's going on. And also I just think it's really cool, like waiting for like grabbing the right opportunity when it comes along as part of the
Yeah.
game.
Well,
I think it's really fun.
and I think as you develop as a player, you also become more aware of not giving checkmates away, because this is
Totally.
also a huge part of the game, is like knowing when you're, it's one thing to line up for a checkmate, but then you've got maybe two other people moving after you that could take the checkmate. So you've got to that's like another step
Definitely.
in the learning process, is how not to give them away, which is super tough.
It is. And yeah, so I think, yeah, it is QH6 Felipe. He's come on in our comment section. He's so supportive. This is wonderful. Um, and then yeah, Jeff's had guessed earlier Queen L2, and then he and Madhu talked it out, and Madhu suggested Queen, like White Queen to H6, and they had a fun little I loving this comment section today. It's very alive. Yeah, that's mostly those are my two puzzles, but I did want to take a second to everyone who's watching to pitch our Instagram. So if you go to our Instagram, it's quaternity I.ig. Nope, not that. We post our puzzles once a week. We have a weekly on every Tuesday. We have a new puzzle for you, and you can continue to go and practice all of these puzzles and then join Kash and her crew on the puzzle room on Wednesdays to see if you got them right. And if you're not joining Kash, you can join Victoria and the Portuguese puzzle team. Um, we're currently on break between season 1 and season 2 on the Portuguese puzzle room, but there's 2 or 3 puzzles per episode. I'm sure you can keep yourselves occupied. They're so fun and they're so good to learn, as you can see. And yeah, that's really
Right.
I'm gonna stop sharing now.
Yeah, I've got a couple of puzzles as well. I brought a couple. I don't know if
Okay,
you
let
feel
me
like doing
embarrass
them.
myself. Let's go.
You can't embarrass yourself as much as I just did.
Oh,
So
that's an unfortunate challenge.
hang on, I'm gonna share my screen. Um, okay. So this is a nice little puzzle. I thought
Ooh,
I chose sort of, these aren't from the puzzle room. These
okay.
are sort of just puzzles I've picked out. Um, so yeah, I won't tell you.
Okay.
But I can give you hints if you want. But it's
Um, no, let me try. I really love doing this. I don't know if if you often actually you might know this, you might not. I spend all of my time when I'm like kind of prepping the puzzle room posts, and I'll sit and solve them in time with y'all, and then like sometimes we'll get angry at y'all if you see it before I've had a chance to even look at it, and just will mute you. I feel I'm done. It's
yeah, I
not
do wonder
mistake.
how annoying it is to watch the puzzle room
Oh, it's
sometimes.
not annoying at
You're
all.
all like jumping in, going, I know.
It's not annoying at all. And sometimes when I see it, I'll start chatting on my screen and I enjoy being a part of it in that sense. And so I'm very happy to do
Yeah.
that now.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, Interesting. These are tricky. It's much nicer being the person who has to give them to people.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? I think I've seen it. Is it on black? H.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so if we okay, so I was just looking for which kings were most likely to be. Thank you. That was good
On the
though,
puzzle
because
room.
so I well, I would probably
In fact,
um
I'm inviting you to the puzzle room.
oh oh well if you're
Yeah.
inviting Red Knight to J11, is that wait, did I
Yeah.
is that not what I said?
Yeah. Yeah, you said that.
Okay, cool. Sorry, no, I just wondered. Yeah, Madhu, that's exactly right. I think it's right, knight to J11. Um, but yeah.
I mean, it's
Oh, I
nice.
would love to come on.
Yeah.
They're so cool. I like honestly fangirl. Oh, Madhu added red rook to I7. Oh, that's true. L7, sorry, L7.
Yeah, that's
I didn't
also
catch that.
double.
I didn't catch that one.
I didn't catch that either.
Very cool. Oh,
Oh no, because the black horse can protect against that, no?
oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, the black horse can block that.
I think
No, well, the black horse is pinned. No, 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 it can't because of the white bishop.
Oh yes. Yes.
Oh, good catch.
Nice.
Very cool. Oh, so many possibilities.
So I know that's what I love about these puzzles. It's just impossible to see everything. So hang on, I've got another one here.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, okay. Okay, okay. Um, I've had so much practice learning from y'all. Okay. So,
Yeah.
okay. So my first, like, my eye is very drawn to red because the rook is pinned and the king is very cornered, and doesn't really have much it can do, but maybe no. Well, but the on the other hand, there's a way. So like my instinct is that it's on red, but then I'm also looking, and white is doing better than, well, arguably is doing better than red is, but green could put white into check also, but that's not a mate, I think. Um, unless, nope. Yeah, no, that's still not, no. So it has to be on, unless. Oh, this one's hard. And this is a checkmate in one?
Yep.
What? All of its royal squares are quite open. So there's the line, the B line is completely blocked off by the red rook. But the rest of them, C1 and 3 and D1 and 3 are open. And even if you did, there would be, don't think so. Ugh, God, it is tricky. Well, the king. Oh, no, nope. I thought I saw it and then I didn't.
I do that as well. I'm like, oh, I've got it. And then I'm like, oh no, I haven't got it.
Oh, this one's hard. Oh, I like it. It's good.
I'm trying to see the chat here, but I can't see it.
Mhm. I'm trying
sent
very
me.
hard to not look at the chat because I
don't
want
look at it. That's why I was trying to look at it, but I don't know how to find the chat on this thing. No, this isn't my turn.
My
It's
God,
Anna's
I'll
turn.
bet one of them, either Madhu, Jeff, or Felipe, has already figured out. Oh, Felipe, hi. He's already figured
Hi.
out the
He's
answer.
desperate to tell you the
No,
answer.
I know the answer.
Oh.
Don't say anything.
Um,
Do you want a tiny little clue?
No. It's easy. She will
It's
find
not-
it.
It's not
Priyanka,
easy.
you're gonna find
You
it.
will find it, but it's
You'll
not
find
that
it.
easy.
hmm. Oh,
Focus on the
Yeah. That's it.
is it the if I bring, well, but that can be, no, but that can be blocked. What if I brought, well, I was thinking if I brought the green
No,
queen.
king where is not possible to the king block or
say what you were thinking, Priyanka.
block. Yeah.
C10. C10. That would put the
Almost.
king in check.
No, keep going.
Keep going on that line.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you take the rook on A8.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
It's hard, isn't it?
Oh, that was
because
good.
the king cannot move to the B11
Yeah,
because
B11
tower.
the rook.
But what's difficult with these puzzles is you're always looking horizontally, right? And this has happened to me several times where I cannot see what the checkmate is, and then it's the queen moving diagonally because for some reason I'm always looking horizontally.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, love this game. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Especially because I feel like with the diagonals, I'm so focused on like the main diagonals, like the central diagonals, that like are next to the first initial spot of the king, and then you don't notice these smaller diagonals that can be so. Oh, wow. This was so good. Yeah, Madhu got it. And Jeff also got it. Both of them got it. No.
Nice, guys. Well done, everyone.
Oh my God. This was excellent. Oh, thank you, Kash. That was a very good.
You're welcome.
In Spanish they call puzzles rompecabezas, and which like I think is so perfect for quaternity puzzles. Is like it's incredible. I found this out from a friend, and I've just been obsessed for months. Break, I think.
Huh?
Break, I think.
Oh, a head break. Yeah, like breaking.
I think so. I like, don't quote me on that. Like my Spanish is rusty, but I think that's how
I thought it was head romp, like you just have a romp around your head trying to work out the answers.
I think it's okay. I'm gonna check this now. I'm curious. If there are any Spanish speakers in chat.
Certainly.
Yeah,
these puzzles really make you think.
Yeah, Jeff adds that he didn't think he'd have seen that in that particular puzzle in a game. And Ama says rompe is the same in Portuguese. Yeah, it means to break. And I think but I think, you know what, like
what quebra was to break in Portuguese. Anyway, my Portuguese.
There was a couple. But I don't know. I think it's you break your head to put it back together again in a better way than before. And I think that's really special.
And I think that is Quaternity chess, yeah.
Indeed.
It really makes you think in ways that you wouldn't normally think.
Okay, Amal has an answer for you as to what it is, but I'm not going to butcher Portuguese by trying to say that and then saying it wrong. But thank you. That's actually really sick. I found a lot of really interesting parallels between Portuguese and Spanish. Anyway, it's like break your head. Very cool. Oh, I think what she meant is that the term in Portuguese means similarly to the term Spanish, where like it does. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you for being so alive in chat. This was one of the most fun lives.
Yeah, really nice.
I've done in a very long time. It was so wonderful chatting with you, Kash, and doing these puzzles with you.
Thanks for having me. It was great. It was good to talk.
Yeah. And for everyone else, as you know, we have our 2 shows. The Puzzle Room comes out every Wednesday, both in Portuguese and in English. And the Blitz show comes out once a month on the weekend. You can look forward to that one soon. It's coming out this weekend. And for February. And yeah, we have lives on here every week. We will be back next week, and we'll hope to see you again soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And to you as well, Kash. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Priyanka. Thanks, everybody at home. See you soon somewhere.